I gotta say that I really like that we're recording the pod at a table. It feels like we're podding a board meeting. You know, the podcast has come to order. It's the first item of business.
Why don't you pod my nagel?
Okay, Chapo Trap House, agenda action item number 1. Hello, boys and girls. It's your Chapo for this week, the introduction of the show. We are coming to you from L.A. We're, of course, out here as the first leg of our West Coast tour. And got to be honest with you folks, right off the top with this one, if you were expecting this episode to be sort of informative or, like really like a deep dive or insightful or anything like that.
Useful in any way.
Keep listening. But it doesn't matter because we're here to have fun. We're here to keep it loose as a goose.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter anyway because literally just as I'm recording this, I just received confirmation that John Bolton is our new national security advisor. Doesn't need to be confirmed by either House of Congress.
No advice.
Just walked in the door. Is probably telling Trump, as I say this, to attack North Korea and Iran at the same time.
Yep. They'll never see it coming.
So how were the episodes you all did while I was away?
They were good.
They were great, actually.
They were great, huh?
Yeah, we felt really free and loose, and it felt better than it has in a long time. I don't know what the difference was.
Yeah, it was almost like we didn't have a bunch of 3/4 full water bottles hanging around our neck.
That's really unbelievable. It's a person's home is their castle, and you take one rent boy in and violate the sanctity of your castle.
You have violated the sanctity of my homes, Mr. Stern.
Well, I got the last laugh because I reported Shuja for doxing, and he's been banned from Twitter.
Finally, get him out of here.
I mean, I can only wonder what he's doing to Ganymede right now.
I mean, I don't think this is time for us to hold like petty resentments. Things like Shuja not tucking in the porg.
Let's see, what have you been up to since we got here to LA? Let's just fill you in on the details here.
We were doing a little of this.
That's
vacuuming.
True. That's true.
Yes, vacuuming up the room. Love to clean an Airbnb.
We were having 2 Roombas race.
Okay. Yesterday, I had my first ever walk into a storefront legal drug buying experience.
Oh, it was so cool.
Now
That's not really illegal drug buying. If you just go into a bodega and buy heroin from the guy behind the counter, that doesn't make it legal, even if he has a card scanner.
You're right. I have bought weed at over the counter of a bodega, like on some wink wink. I'll have the iced tea, please. But this was an actual weed store. This is the full California weed store experience.
Oh yeah, it was decadent.
It was glorious.
Yeah, treats and eats to your heart's content.
It was so oddly sterile, the store. It was very professional. They take your ID when you walk in. The marijuana plants are arranged by type and potency, right?
Yeah.
There's a magnifying glasses. You can see to observe the crystals on them. And the only really... the weed culture-y thing there are these framed posters of like counterculture relics, like an R. Crumb drawing.
Yes.
Just on one bare wall.
Yeah.
And it's very weird seeing this kind of thing recontextualized in a commercial setting.
Yeah, it's just like, here, hello, this is the drugstore. Here is the drug culture that goes with it.
It seemed wrong in
like
some way.
Corporate. It's like a TGI Fridays approach.
I don't know how to put it. It's just
every place gets like a compliment of old hippie bullshit to put on the wall.
I appreciate the novelty of it, but as a practical matter, they should just sell it at Walgreens.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, but I did like somebody told me that the thing that has all the magnifying glasses so you examine the nugs. Apparently that's for tourists because they are so enamored of this experience of being able to just go in a store that they really want to ham it up.
Oh, yeah, done and done. I went in there, I was looking through all those things going, gosh, I've never seen weed this up close before.
But yeah, they should sell at Walgreens along with heroin, fentanyl, all opioids, all weapons, that sort sort of thing. We're agorists now after going to the weed store.
Well, this is a good news peg to our shared experience here. Apparently, Jeff Sessions, our Attorney General, probably maybe in an attempt to keep his job, has now officially said he is considering applying the death penalty to certain drug dealing related crimes.
Yep. God bless him. Wow. Just that toddler's brain that our president has where, there's all this drug problem. Execute the dealers. You have to execute them the way they die in 80s movies. So you have to throw them off of buildings onto fences or something, or electrocute them by kicking them into a substation. You can't do a regular execution. They have to be dropped from a helicopter into a volcano.
I'm just sort of angry at the plagiarism. I mean, talks to Duterte once, and here we go. He's the new Dennis Leary. I'm just, that's the worst part about all this.
Oh, man. And the other funny thing that was going on today, and this I will apologize for again. When we did last weekend's episode with the one who shall not be named, the one who violated Virgil's home and doxed him and threatened him, and for that he's been kicked
Animal abuser.
He's been kicked off Twitter. Fucking Jordan Peterson is just still at it, and it's getting even better. I thought we could just put it to bed.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to talk about it anymore.
What did I tell you guys?
You're right. You were right.
He
Felix.
just
He's
keeps
not going
making
away.
himself relevant with oafish hilariousness.
Yeah.
He is such a funny person now.
Every time the guys like this or Cernovich or whoever people we've made fun of before, I always have sort of a crisis of conscience, in talking about them and giving them the attention they so desperately want, even if it's to be made fun of so viciously. Are we in fact contributing to this or raising their quotient? But on the other hand, they're just too funny not to talk about.
They're very funny.
And Jordan Peterson just weeping openly.
Oh, you vile poltroon and mountebank.
So literally the day after the Shuja episode came out, Jordan Peterson had a 5-alarm meltdown online because of a negative review of him in the New York Review of Books.
Yeah.
In which he was, you could hear the tears as he was typing it, and he threatened to slap fight the critic.
Yep.
Don't let the tears fool you. I'll still knock the fuck out of somebody.
I mean, let's look at this. This is the guy who, his response to being accused of being a fascist is to threaten political violence on somebody. He says, "How dare you say I'm a fascist? I will beat you up. I'll slap you silly. I'll gladly engage you in physical contact."
And
that's basically what fascism is, dude.
We'll go behind the ACC and I'll fucking wax your ass, bitch.
Oh, we were not doing Jordan Peterson, Dan Quinn yet.
yeah, we got to build up.
Yeah,
to
you're
that.
right. Sorry,
We haven't built our mind palace
you're right.
enough yet to. We're taking the listeners on a journey that will end.
I'm sorry. I'm always trying to slam it into fifth gear.
with Dan Quinn, Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
So essentially the import of this entire meltdown was Peterson misreading the phrase romanticizing the noble savage, which he took in context to mean you're fucking your Indian friend.
Yes, because he mentions he says he claims to be inducted into this Indian tribe, and he has this intimate relationship with Indian communities, and then he basically defines that kind of experience as romancing the noble savage, which is a thing that's common in a lot of fascist ideology of sort of fetishizing and also othering what is perceived to be like a pre-civilizational pure human. Like
Lenny Riefenstahl's photos of
the tribes,
the Maasai.
Maasai, yes.
Maasai.
But that's what it is, yeah.
And then continuing on with this, again, that the clip of him just crying is now my new favorite picture. Is just the him with the tears welling up in his eyes
at his idea. It's not like he's just thinking about his conception of the individual, and that's what's making him cry. It is the exact equivalent of when Steven Seagal was brought to tears by the screenplay he wrote. It's the same thing.
When did this video originally when did it come out?
It was a vlog.
It was one of his vlogs.
Oh, was this before he?
It was during his ascent.
Wing guy? Oh.
No, it was during his ascent. Because he started off, he got his initial audience through vlogging, through YouTubes, and this is the stuff that kind of got him his original profile.
They were like, we need more of this weeping man.
I need a weeping Kermit who apparently thinks that the sum total of all male relationships is violence, and that you have to be able to like imagine yourself beating up anyone who you meet, and you have to be able to resolve to violence if there's any like disagreement that can't otherwise be solved. You have to always be willing to do violence.
And his other thing is that if you're dealing with a woman,
Yeah.
that whole equation is out of whack
Yeah,
because you
right.
can't use violence against her.
Yeah, like his fixation on violence for a guy who was like 80 pounds. You know, this 80-pound Don Knotts voice quavering nerd. I mean, he's a geek.
Well, Manny Pacquiao is pretty small. Maybe Jordan Peterson is a similar explosive
He doesn't have
athleticism in
anything.
the
He's
triangle
just
defense.
He's just a bag of skin. What is intimidating about him? And he's always saying
His mind.
Like,
Yeah.
but he's always claiming he's going to beat you up physically. He's always
you
like,
ever
I will come to you and I will slap you, sir.
He means with logic. I mean, have you ever seen Professor Charles Xavier lose a fight? No, you haven't. That's the guy that they based Peterson.
Here's another bit. We saw this today about our put-in brand wet boy president. I mean, again, and just now consider the fact that this man is being advised by one of the greatest lunatics.
Yep.
One of the most war-mad ghouls
Yeah.
and psychos on the
Oh my
planet.
God. Just this maniac, this black pill death worshiper.
So this is Charlie Kirk interviewing Donald Trump about the issue of like campus free speech, and this is hilarious because Charlie Kirk's entire existence is based around this idea that conservatives are being persecuted
Yes.
on college campuses.
Yeah.
It's why his Turning Point USA is given God knows how much money from God
God.
knows where. So Kirk asks him, he gets to interview the big boy himself because
Like, setting this thing up on a tee and I'm going to knock it out of the park.
and he says to Trump, "It's harder than ever to espouse support of your presidency and the ideas you're fighting for. So thank you for what you're doing to give us the courage of our convictions to fight against political correctness. But what advice do you have for young patriots and conservatives on campus that support your agenda that are being ridiculed and silenced because of administrators that are clamping down on free speech?" So like big beach ball on a tee here that he thinks he's going to just queue up and he's going to
Yeah,
get
it's
like a
like-
nice
He's
like,
a big old quote
big
that
old
could be
quote
turned
that
into
can-
like
yeah.
15 different memes.
He's giving
You can step on one quote into 15 memes.
He's giving Trump that puzzle that they give to people whose brains got harmed by IEDs, where it's just 3 big pieces. He's like, "Come on, you can do it. Make the train."
So here, before I read Trump's response, like, can you see the fatal flaw
yeah.
Charlie's question here?
Yeah, man, it sure is hard to be a supporter of you in public. A lot of people really don't like you and yell at people when they say they like you.
Yeah, you might as well be like, "President Trump, every time I go on campus, people are saying that you couldn't have had Cheryl Tiegs in 81, and actually, you've been the fake friend to Anna Wintour."
So here is Trump's response. And I'm just imagining Charlie's like big gummy smile just shrinking as this goes on and on. So he says, "I think the numbers are actually much different than people think. I think we have a lot of support. If they have one campus or 2 campuses, and we know what they are, and it gets all the publicity. We have campuses where you have the vast majority of people that are perhaps like many of the people in this room. You could call it conservative. You call it whatever you want. But there are people that want free speech. If you look at what's going on with free speech, with the super left, with Antifa, with all of these characters, I'll tell you what, they get a lot of publicity. But you go to the real campuses. You go all over the country. You go out to the Middle West. You even go out to the coast in many cases. We have tremendous support. I would say we have majority support.
Go out to Overalls University, to Cowboy Boots Technical College.
And then at the end here, he just says, "I think it's highly overblown."
Highly overblown.
He repeats it.
Yeah. Hey, no offense, but the entire purpose of your life
Yeah.
is complete.
Just
false,
dropped a
yeah.
depth charge down your gullet and annihilated
Yeah.
your fucking foundation.
Actually, Charlie, I actually think there's literally no reason for you to be alive.
You have no purpose. Your entire issue is hysterical gibberish.
And the funny part about this now is that Trump saying the issue of free speech on campus and kind of conservatives being persecuted by out of control PC leftist
Yeah.
culture, he says it's highly overblown. And then fucking that Taint Jonathan Chait had a meltdown today, being like, "Oh, so you agree with Donald Trump now? This isn't a serious issue." He's like, "I agree with Obama." And then some Obama quote where he says, like, "Let me be clear. I think campus PC is it's a very dogmatic point of view.
Now you know how much
There's one thing I know about it's dog."
Obama actually got mad at Oberlin when they got rid of dog gyro for being appropriative.
Okay. So you have the Strange-Levian madman. Surely, I just saw a report on CNN that as part of his interview, he assured Trump he won't start any more wars. So
okay, I'm sure he'll take him about 5 seconds to get around that one.
but this would be a good time to check in. Just touch base with the White House and the Trump cabinet, the executive branch. Because, there's been some turnover for some of the jobs. Maybe you listen to Felix and Derek go over the life and career of
It's so hard
living Turkey Waddle, Rex Tillerson.
I hate seeing Rex Tillerson go, but I love watching him leave.
So
he's a big booty bitch.
Now, Rex Tillerson has a fucking huge ass.
He's a pog.
Yeah,
he's a legit pog.
He has a Caspian Sea of oil in that bitch. Rex Tillerson has the type of ass where you wake up in Miami in a guy's Airbnb where he spent his whole tax refund on it.
Yep.
Shout out to Goo Up for the Airbnb joke. Follow Goo Up on Twitter.
apparently fired on the toilet.
Yeah.
And then I think the ongoing theme here is no matter who you are, if Trump fires and embarrasses and humiliates you and you leave your White House job in disgrace, you immediately become a good person.
Yep.
And this was, the sort of the cant of the Rex Tillerson was, I think, best summed up by the guy who was like, imagine you're Rex Tillerson. You were running one of the greatest companies in the world, a statesman, a businessman, respected, now fired while taking a shit.
Yeah. Like, good.
It's like, that's good.
Yeah,
And
you only spent the majority of your life beating back climate change research, bribing corrupt officials, being part of the military-industrial complex and pipeline occupation complex, ruining the environment, making hundreds of millions of dollars, overseeing people from the global south dying on your rigs, and having a half-deflated clown punching bowling pin type thing for a neck.
That was Sam Stein, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who also had a great one too. That was just not acceptable to make fun of Don Jr.'s divorce.
Oh, yeah.
was that Sam Stein?
Yeah, that was Sam Stein again.
That guy is he's Ted Williams.
It's like, I don't even care if I get ratio for this. There's a lot of mewling bullshit, and Chris Hayes, seconds him like,
Of course.
well
yeah.
put.
We
sir.
have to have decorum and rules about what's acceptable to talk about and who's acceptable to talk about it. I'm sorry, but I'm talking about it because he cheated on her with the chick from Danity Kane.
Which I did not know
I
what
bet that was. I mean, you've told me before that's your favorite musical group.
I do.
Well, Matt,
kind
you
of
had
betrayal
to,
for you.
Surprise, breaking news here. Matt had to explain to me who the fuck Aubrey O'Day and
Yeah.
Danny Kane were.
I know that. You guys don't remember Making the Band.
I never watched.
I remember
It was
that.
a
Little pockets
reality
of
show.
these little pockets of your pop culture knowledge are
Yeah.
so surprising when we come across them.
Yeah, there's just some things that get seared in your mind. There was a show where Puff Daddy was the host, and he recruited a bunch of people together to make a girl band, and one was a boy band, but one season was a girl band, and then it was basically a reality show about turning them into an actual act from just a bunch of people who auditioned. And the lead singer was this woman, Aubrey O'Day, who then was part of the band that the show created called Danity Kane. And I believe now she is a solo artist. And it's as a solo artist that she had a song on her album from 2014, what was titled DJT, and was all about how I'm in love with you, boy, but you keep me a secret and you hide me. Why is that?
I like how just everyone in the Trump world is just so bad at code. Like, if they were doing Pizzagate, they would just be like, do you have any of those not children on the way? Like, even the Guma is just like, yeah, I'm just going to put your initial on my album.
Well, I mean, Don Jr. is the guy who got that email. Hey, would you like to have some Russian people over to talk Russianly about stolen Russian secrets? And he goes, if it's what I think it is, I love it. Yeah.
And some of the greatest journalism that I've seen in my lifetime, I believe, was the Daily Mail, which found an Instagram post on that woman's feed from around the time she was sleeping with Mary Don Jr., and it was just a picture of a couple's feet.
Yes.
And the caption was something like, "He's keeping my feet safe from bunions."
Yep.
Awooga.
And this author, this Woodward of our time, cross-referenced those feet, the man's feet, with a picture of Don Jr.'s feet.
And found irrefutable evidence.
I think like
those are the same Tootsies.
The guy who wrote that article, probably his entire life, he's like, I wish I didn't have this crippling foot fetish. It's like the only way I can get off. I've had relationships fall apart because of sexual problems for it. I can't control myself in summer. Like I have to run home to jack off when I see women in their open-toed sandals. This is such a curse. Why can't I just be normal? And then he's Seymour Hersh. He does the greatest story of all time, using his imperfections as a weapon. Yeah. God bless you, sir.
It's amazing.
If there's ever a journalism award in Chris Celez's name, this person will win a lifetime achievement.
And Matt, were you telling me that Vanessa Trump, I mean, again, high turnover in the administration, high turnover in the Trump family.
Yeah.
Didn't you tell me that Vanessa Trump did like a Karen from Goodfellas to Danity Kane?
She said that there's something came out in some gossip article that says that she called her with her kids on the line and told her to get your own goddamn man. Aubrey O'Day.
Is this Mr. Diddy?
Mr. Diddy, your band has a whore in it. There's a whore in Danity Kane, Mr. Diddy.
But you know what? We should make fun of it because it's hilarious.
Yeah,
well, okay, yeah, that was the line proffered by many that. God, who is that other idiot? Noah Scatman. Noah Scatman from like Danger Room or wherever the fuck he writes for.
Yeah,
it's Danger Zone.
The Danger Zone.
From the Danger Zone.
Okay. He was like, if there's one thing, like just think about the children, or like it's really revealing of character to like laugh at someone's divorce, and it's just like. What? So that their kids are going to have to live in two incredibly big garish houses now?
Yeah. They won't have the full-time attentive parroting of Donald Trump Jr. Yeah. It's the dumbest son of Donald Trump won't be there all the time to show them InfoWars videos.
Yeah.
I think
their lives are made so much. The prospects of their lives are made so much better by the less time they hang around Don Jr.
I mean, no, I do think the kids are off limits though, because in a just perfect society, they would be taken by the state, shorn of their last name, and educated by Bob Avakian. And they don't have that privilege. I think we should work towards a society where that would happen.
Where we brainwash the children of the elite. Re-educate.
No, actually educate for the first time. They're kids.
Yeah. There's brainwash.
There's nothing funny about a woman from a reality TV band fucking the extremely gummy son of the dumb president, and writing a song about it that like 30 people listened to on Spotify and didn't put together until this year. There's nothing. You think it's funny that Donald Trump is going to show up in court wearing his "Keep Calm and Chive On" shirt when they say that he can't take them wolf hunting in Alaska on the weekend? Do you think that's funny that Don Jr. is going to cry during the Chive St. Patrick's Day celebration next year?
Yeah.
No.
The funny thing about Don Jr. is, you look at the Trump kids and you think, who's the dumb one? It's got to be Eric, right? He's the actual like Habsburg diseased face one. No, Eric's the minimally competent one. Don's the dumb one who is very transparently desperate for his father's affection, and he never gets it. And I really think that interview with Charlie Kirk came about via Don Jr. And that it just pissed Trump off. This college question, he just walked out of it and just gave his son a dirty look.
Don Jr. thanked his dad for a retweet.
Oh God!
Like, think about that. That's usually the people who do that who are like, tweet liked by Donald Trump on 3/12/2015. Like, those are usually just the most lonely teacups. The people in the Paul Joseph Watson thread whose families don't talk anymore. But this is his firstborn son. He's like, a real retweet by real Donald Trump.
that YouTube teenager who something hacks.
Jeff Tutorials.
Yeah, Jeff Tutorials has been retweeted more by Don Jr.'s father.
Like a Britain First Defense Squad has been retweeted more.
Hey, Don Jr., get on the real alpha shit. Guess what? My dad asks me for retweets, begs me for them.
This is a happy story, though. Vanessa, if you follow her Twitter feed, she's living her best life right now.
There are all these MAGA guys in the thread, though, that are like, you think you're going to get a man like that ever again? You think you're going to get a gummy guy with an 82 IQ ever again?
That was really funny.
Do you think you're ever going to get a guy who gets stuck in a Chinese finger trap with his brother at Thanksgiving?
I think she's I think she's going to end up with Larry David. I don't know. Just a hunch. Just one of those weird things.
I mean, one thing we all agree, we said it before, the children are off limits.
Of course.
And I just want to be clear, like they're just, the children are off limits, so I'm just going to
old mafia rules.
They're off limits, so I'm just going to name them all right now real quick. Donald Trump III, Kai Madison Trump, Chloe Sophia Trump, Tristan Milos Trump, and Spencer Frederick Trump. And, you know, like the idea that Tristan Milos and Spencer Frederick, maybe because of this divorce, won't get to shoot the last living African white rhino with their father and then take pictures by its carcass together is sad.
Yeah.
And if you laugh at that, I mean, it's like you're revealing that you're a bad person.
Yeah. How would you dare wish that upon Tristan Trump?
Yo,
Yeah. Trinket Isabel and all the other kids, like, it's tough, dude. You know, my parents separated, and, you know, honestly, I'm still dealing with it.
Man, knowing that there's a Tristan Trump in the world has taken something out of me right now.
Well, Matt, you've often compared Donald Trump to Napoleon III.
Yes,
and now
absolutely.
there is Donald Trump III as part of this brood, so he can actually...
You know, Don Jr. is on like some private thread on the locked sub forum of one of his hunting message boards. Like it's like the Hunter's Lounge. Sub forum relationships.
Yes,
and it's just a bunch of other guys being like, "She's a gold digger, dude."
Yeah, just like don't worry. It's like AR-15 Terry is going, hey man, that happened to me too. Sometimes I just go fucking crazy. There's nothing you can do about it.
But the pattern we're seeing here, like whether we're talking about Tillerson or Don Jr., is that like everyone in Trump's orbit, who are all equally evil people, if not more so, the great thing about Trump is he's the only one that can really fuck over and get under the skin of these other monstrous assholes. Like the FBI guy, McCabe. All the people who, like, he fired him right before his pension kicked in purely out of spite. Which owns. That's
savage.
Savage.
And the people who were, like, worried about him, like, every FBI guy who gets fired is going to do what all FBI guys do, which is write a book called, like, Courage and Dignity. You know, my struggle versus Muslims in special education classes, and get like a 7-figure book deal. But like, yeah, they were doing GoFundMe's for this fucking dude.
That was the other, like, that was like the North Carolina GOP office burning down. They were like, this brave patriot, we have to make sure he gets the... Like, McCabe was just like, me and my wife are going to sail around the world right after this congressional hearing.
And now what happened is that in addition to whatever GoFundMe's are going on, a Wisconsin Democrat hired him to his security staff for his office for a week so that he would be qualified for his beloved pension.
Oh man, if just any type of teenager holding an unidentified box is within 100 miles of there, Andy McCabe is going to, you know, maybe accidentally hit 3 civilians and kill a witness by accident. The FBI is not perfect. No one's perfect, but
we just sprayed some more CS gas in there. Oops.
Yeah. No, but like best of luck. Have fun with that other guy. That's what Trump's saying to McCabe right now.
Yeah, so as soon as like anyone comes into his orbit and then, is swatted and spins out of it wildly and crashes and burns, they all become now like there's this sort of ritual where they're being inducted into the sort of brotherhood of decent society again, and that they're sympathetic figures in some way. Even Don Jr., one of the most revolting people alive.
Yeah.
Like he's always going through a divorce, so it's not funny to laugh at.
I think it's an article of faith that people are rendered sympathetic by falling like that, because the alternative is that there is no redemption. Like there's no hope of recapitulating society, you know? Like the fractures that we have can never be mended if we can't forgive.
Well, it reminds me of something. It reminds me of like the sort of Robert E. Lee rehabilitationist shit, the things people do with Rommel about, well, you know, actually I didn't like Hitler. He wasn't that good. He was a great general. Or like, it's this weird thing where I
No, he
think,
wasn't. He sucked.
Yeah, that's why he was. That's why he was in North Africa.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
oh, this guy's the greatest baseball player of all time. He plays for a AA farm team. But I think there is this very good human impulse to want to redeem people, and that acknowledges many things are horrible and degrading and painful. Like, we acknowledge that war is the worst thing that can happen, but because we're so hierarchical in our mindset, we don't go, well, maybe, like, for the average soldier, it was awful, even if Nazi Germany was terrible. Like, war is awful, and, like, we did our own war crimes in Dresden, and, like, we should avoid ever having a war. But because we're so deeply hierarchical, we're like, actually, the head guy was pretty cool. So it's the same type of thing here, where it's like, you can have this very real impulse where it's like, modern life is very painful. People are very, very alienated. Everyone's watching you all the time. Everyone sees you fall. It sucks. This is a deeply atomized time. But instead of looking at that for like the average person, it's just like, well, not like the head guys. They're still people. The guy above me, he's still a guy, because we also have this bootlicker thing cooked in.
I mean, the fall of one, of course, is only part of the story. The fall of one leads to the rise of another. So, for instance, Tillerson out at the State Department in Mike Pompeo.
Yeah.
Mike Pompeo coming over from the CIA.
Yes.
Mike Pompeo, a religious fanatic
Yes.
and lunatic. Again, another guy who believes that, like, we are at war with Islam.
Yep.
Not countries that are.
No.
We are at war with Islam, the religion.
Good luck with that. A thing where a billion plus adherents. Go for it.
What was another greatest hit from Mike Pompeo? Do you guys remember anything?
He's one of those guys who always screeches and squawks about why aren't you condemning this moderate Islam whenever there's a terrorist
Right.
attack?
That's the sort of like global sophisticated version of what about black on black crime?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So he's at the State Department, and John Bolton is the national security
Fuck.
advisor.
Oh God.
So Jesus Christ, and then he's out at the CIA. In at the CIA, who will now she will have to face a confirmation.
Yes.
Right. Is what's her name?
Gina Haskell.
Gina Haskell. And again, similar
Or Haspel, sorry.
Haspel, yeah.
Gina Haspel. Similar to the Don Jr. thing, or the sympathy that's engendered for these rotten people when they flame out in spectacular ways because of their own hubris and, let's be honest, voluntary involvement with the Donald Trump administration.
It's not even like they quit out of honor. They literally wanted to serve until Donald Trump was like, sorry, you lose. Goodbye.
So, similar to this, Gina, damn Gina, you tortured a lot of people in Thailand. But now she is being now held up as, the country, hey, this is the first ever woman CIA director.
Yeah.
And then, it's just, the line was sort of surprising. The certain quarters who talk about breaking glass ceilings are suspiciously silent now.
Yeah.
And it's like, this person literally was running the CIA torture site in Thailand where they were, drowning people and doing Christ knows what else. And again, and then, of course, the defense of that is, look, it was legal at the time. She was ordered to do it.
Yeah.
They are trotting out that she was following orders
Absolutely.
defense.
Yeah.
And they're like, she did her job, and she served competently and did the best thing she could. And it's just like, if you did that and then continue on in this career, you have no fucking soul.
No.
You're just
Yeah.
a husk of a person
with
who's been scooped out completely and just hollowed out by irredeemable war crimes.
Yeah.
I will give credit with the Gina Haspel thing. Like, a lot of quarters that we expected to be like, well, this is, it's the first woman, like the libs. They were like, no, some women are evil. We can celebrate this. The people who were doing that were more like the NatSec bootlicker types. The people who will justify anyone doing torture. But it is interesting, like, people who it's the same thing that happened under Bush. When a Republican is in there, things like torture, things like the murder of civilians or surveillance, it suddenly stops being a pragmatic necessity, and you stop congratulating the breaking of glass ceilings. They do see that it's right and wrong. They just happen to excuse it when it's a Democrat in there. Obviously, with Trump, it's worse. They're killing more civilians. There's probably more torture going on, but.
I think a lot of the reason that was just specific to Obama and the decisions that he made when he came to office, because Bush supercharged the national security state to a level that we had never ever seen before. And Obama faced a critical decision. Am I going to continue with this, or am I going to take active measures to draw it down and restore some state of normalcy that perhaps would resemble the Clinton years when the military budget was actually falling? And he made his choice, and the people who were enamored with him fell in line behind it.
In the Haspel thing also reminded me, like, the perfect representation of this mindset. That Nicholas Kristof tweet where he references the fact that, like, the CIA agents who worked at this black site and had to waterboard someone like 70 times in a row were like crying. And they were like,
oh my God.
And he was like, what did he say? He's like,
that's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of strength.
Yeah. And it's just like, they felt bad about what they were doing. So like, so you're surprised that if they were laughing and being gleeful sadists, that would be disturbing. But the fact that they're like, I can't believe I have to do this. Why?
Well, they basically have an idea that, yes, there should be a taboo against torture and things like that. But we also have a philosophical duty to our fellow man to, if there's a dangerous enough situation and there's something where the only way to get information about it is torture, we have to be able to choose to do wrong in the greater service of preventing a terror attack. So it should feel like a transgression. And if it's feeling like a transgression, that means that it's being regulated basically by your conscience, and it will be brought back into line. If you don't care, if you just step out of that line without any kind of concern, then you'll just do it over and over again. It is the fact that they feel bad about it that's going to keep them resistant from doing it again unless they really, really have to.
I have a simpler explanation. They were crying because they're weak. They're weak, weak people. And cowards.
Crying is toxic masculinity. I'm just going to say it right now.
Last time I cried about a Abu Zubaydah. Go home with that other guy. So got Gina in at the CIA, wonderful institution.
Mike Pompeo, the car dealership owner who wears a pullover windbreaker and aviators at all times and calls waitresses red and smoke show. Doesn't he look like one of those guys? Doesn't he look like a suburban, like, handsy sex creep?
Yeah. The hand-faced suburban middle class has really taken over the White House. The whole executive branch.
So that's foreign policy. That's all. That's everything overseas.
Yeah.
More closer to home, we've got my main man, CNBC's money fucking monster, $100K a week, snow fucking party, Larry motherfucking Kudlow.
Cocaine City.
Yes, cocaine cowboy.
Paid in full, Larry Kudlow.
Dude.
From pieces to weight.
Yeah.
Fucking, was it an economic advisor?
Yeah.
Another position?
The National Economic Council, the head economic advisor.
So in one year...
Basically the economic equivalent of the NSA.
So his advisor in 1 year, as like we said, is Bolton, who's like attack Iran and North Korea together. Well, everyone else will be distracted and it'll be total commitment.
Yeah, death
total commitment.
Death,
in
murder,
the other ear,
kill.
You've got Kudlow, who is literally... thinks the only thing that can help the economy is just cutting taxes.
Yeah.
It believes all recessions are caused by not cutting taxes.
Yes.
Yep.
And right up until the day the stock market crashed in 2008 was like never mortgages will always
sailing ahead, folks.
Yeah. Among the most addled lunatics, like
a total fanatic, a man who lives in cloud cuckoo land.
I can't wait.
A total supply side jihadist maniac.
I can't wait till Kudlow puts the White House as a escrow for a credit default swap. Then just like President Xi wins it. It's good. My main man is going to take over this year because Larry Kudlow, like all coke addicts, sort of gambles it away.
Yeah,
Kudlow is going to bring a much needed like cocaine guy energy to the White House, where he's going to just be walking around sniffing, talking about how he's going to start a restaurant this year. Donald Trump's like, I just had a great meeting with my economic advisor. He said I'm a beautiful person whom he loves, and that we could really actually start a record label. We're going to start importing denim from Japan. He has all these wonderful ideas. ideas. He, for some reason, pulled Barron aside and told him he's the smartest person he knows.
Just it was great. We stayed up for hours talking about the economy and all the movies he's seen recently.
It's going to be one of those like big stupid meetings that Trump has with the cameras there, but it's going to be Kudlow wearing an open bathrobe playing Jesse's Girl for everybody.
What I like
Trump is like, no, he's right. Listen to the lyrics.
He's right about these albums. You don't want to listen to them in the order that they tell you, but you can switch it up. What I like about Kudlow is because of his truly heroic cocaine habit, he does have that sort of like preserved look.
Yeah, no, he's
that kind
Yeah.
sort of that sheen, that kind of like no moisture.
No, it's
is
totally
in there at all.
impermeable,
It's
yeah.
just like a
He's
no lips
he's
anymore.
wax. He's wax.
Yeah. It's a good look.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Felix. He is actually, I think, going to shake things up more than anything because up until now, the Trump administration, they didn't have that edge. They were all
Cocaine
sort of like
energy,
beer
yeah.
drinkers, or teetotalers, even worse.
It's a downers administration.
Yeah.
It's all people who take 3 Ambien because they think it will give them better sleep, and drink like 4 Michelob Ultras because they're being healthy now, and then just like DM Maria Bartiromo, I want to marry you. I'm so in love with you. You're so perfect.
So we're just-
Whoa, sorry, I accidentally fell asleep on my phone. That was my elbow dialing that. I'm normal.
So we
Pleased
just
to
need
meet you.
Fucking supercharge this with some fucking uppers.
Yeah.
Snorting like fucking massive rows of coke. Just like a fucking first baseline worth of coke.
Yeah, Larry Kudlow is going to be taking Adidas lace size rails of coke.
Yes.
He's just gonna like.
It's the last 30 minutes of Goodfellas for the rest of the administration.
The only other
They're like, Larry, Mr. Kudlow, that helicopter is Marine One. Of course it's following you.
we needed those executive orders, Donald.
Stop singing.
The only other uppers user in the administration is probably Hope Hicks. Hope Hicks is probably like every other ambitious
She's gone now,
PR girl,
too.
like Adderall, probably pretty boring.
Yeah.
You clean up your place. Not like what Larry Kudlow is into the real shit.
Yeah, Hope Hicks does it so that you can stay up all night cleaning your house or just entering numbers in a spreadsheet or
Hicks does it
something.
the way that Jesse Spano did.
Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Kudlow, you need the godlike euphoria to go along with the manic energy, though.
You need the Alec Baldwin and Malice shit. I am God.
I can't wait till the next 2 years of the Trump administration. They're going to be like it's going to be the boost with James Woods. And James Woods can actually be there for this one.
Well, not only that, there's a good chance if he keeps tweeting, James Wood will end up in the Trump administration in some capacity.
Yeah.
Because now it's like there's some other Fox News hosts that he's bringing into the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Yep.
It's just people he sees on TV that he wants
The
around
only
him.
thing is real.
People who he sees on TV that he likes and who say good things about him. And not only that, here, this is funny. Felix, you'll like this. Alan fucking Dershowitz has been on Fox News every night for the past week.
We fly high.
No Epstein's plane, getting brain.
Yeah.
It's illegal.
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 Yeah.
Children.
Yeah. We're not implying anything.
No, this is all
We're not
alleged.
implying
Just
anything
his
about
name
it.
was on those flight logs. That's all.
Along with Donald Trump. So
Yeah.
what? It was a
So what?
networking
And Bill
flight,
Clinton.
yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Guys being dudes.
So Dershowitz has been on Fox News auditioning for the role of White House legal counsel, like the John Dean role, by saying
Well, that guy just quit.
Dershowitz has been on TV saying Trump has every reason to fire Mueller, and he'd be totally justified in doing it, and I'll defend him if he has to go to the mat for it, just like I did for OJ and Klaus von Bülow.
Yeah, John Dowd or whatever his name is, he just resigned as head counsel for the Russiagate investigation
because he can't dishonor himself anymore.
No one knows.
Dude, he's at the way out. Bring the Dersh in.
Get in the Dersh.
I love that
Dersh, get off the bench.
I love how Dershowitz he was respected as a lawyer for a bit. Now he was a good lawyer.
Bag. Yes. He's always asleep.
He was an officer of the court. Thank you. But he just like for the past 2 years he goes on Fox News and he's like, it's interesting that people accuse Trump of racism when actually, if you think about it that way, Mueller is being racist against presidents. And it's like, nailed him, man.
Trump is now in the position, the only person in the world who could make Ready Player One reality. He can just take people off of television and bring them into his room. Like, he's literally surrounding himself with all the figures of pop culture he likes.
Game master. He's the game master Trump.
Yeah, he's gonna bring in
Every Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, Al Jazeera host comes in for a huge cabinet meeting.
Guys, I'm turning 72 this year. Big year for me.
Yeah. Yes. That's what he's doing. He's bringing them all in.
There's some new faces in class, some transfer students, but there's a few people that have just sort of like been chilling, been doing their thing.
No drama.
Sort of under the radar a little
No
bit.
drama, Nikki.
But Nikki Haley is one, but the one where the no drama hit a slight snag this week. My personal favorite, Ben Carson, who is Housing and Urban Development. And he's just been sort of like laying low and just popping up
Slowly
occasionally,
dismantling the entire fucking department.
Just yeah, exactly. Dismantling the department he oversees and just surfacing occasionally to say things like, "We don't want public housing to be too nice because we don't want people to like living there."
Yep. there should be spikes that shoot out of the ground every once in a while. Not enough to kill you, but definitely cause pain in your buttocks and then just enough for you to know it. Don't get comfortable.
Those are the most hardworking reporters, the people who get the actual quotes about HUD out of Carson, because there has to be like 31 hours of tape surrounding that where he's like, and the Jesuits sent 700 talents of gold to the Elamites, but you know, I always had my doubts in that. It was probably under 600. It's very difficult to operate a conveyor belt in this time, but they did have the technology, I do believe.
So he's popped up this week because of a $31,000 table.
Oops.
That was purchased on Uncle Sam's dime.
You know, a lot of people criticize me for the table, but 31,000 was actually the number of foreskins David took from the Philistines. And if you think that it's too much, then you're sort of disagreeing with Scripture. Not that you can't not disagree with Scripture. That's why we're human. You know, I think that you know, everyone could have a dining table. We could all have dinner, a big dinner party where all your friends are there. Everyone you ever know who died, they can come up and ask you a question, and we can take from Jewish traditions where we hide the matzah, and they can find it. And you give them $100, and that's why it's $31,000. And thank you.
But what I do like about Carson's,
I have a good zinger here.
Yeah.
A $16,000 dinner table. Who made it? Judy Chicago.
Oh yeah, man. Hell yeah.
riff of the day.
Amazon gift card.
Riff of the day goes to Virgil. Amazon, give this man an Amazon gift card.
That's right, man.
That's really funny.
Anybody-
Google Judy Chicago, everybody, for a delightful treat after this episode.
Can you believe anyone ever gets mad at this show?
I know, it's delightful. That's such a nice joke. Oh, that's good.
That's what we're here for. 100% clean comedy.
Virgil is the
Hurting anybody.
clean comedy consultant.
Well, the punchline to the Ben Carson story is that he blamed his wife.
Yep. He's just like,
He said, I sent her shopping.
and she went buck.
And people have made this observation. He used the women be shopping defense
Yep.
in congressional testimony. Yeah. So there's that. But again, who cares about the table? Let them buy the nice table.
Yeah, who cares?
gives a shit? Yeah. I mean, it seems like the climax that we're all I am hoping for dearly is him
Mueller.
finally just firing Robert Mueller.
Mueller. Oh God.
Well,
It will be the apotheosis of Twitter and the internet.
We've talked about it before, but like at this point, why wouldn't he? Because like. Okay, this is a good. That asshole Jeff Fuck was like on Twitter, and he was like, I beg you, sir, like do not fire Robert Mueller and create a constitutional crisis. Like the Congress will use its remedy known as impeachment or whatever. No, they won't.
Sir,
he should know. He must know by now that the Republicans in Congress are not going to allow him to be impeached.
No,
they're not going to let. They're
that
not going
means any Nazi used car dealer in their district will beat them in a primary by saying he voted to get rid
by the
of
way,
your big sweaty boy.
Shout out to the actual Nazi who just won the Republican primary.
Illinois 3rd District, baby. When the entire rest of the country is like, this can't get any lower, Illinois is like, want to bet?
Yeah.
J.B. Pritzker, Bruce Rauner, who almost lost, Lipinski.
Virgil, you're elections and politics wonk. Do you think that he would be impeached by the Republicans
If he
Congress?
fired Mueller?
If he fired Mueller, yeah.
I mean, it's tough to say because Flake was the only one to come up and, make it very explicit. Like, wait, if he does this, I will vote to impeach him, right?
And he's
or
the one
vote to
who's
remove
not
him.
up for re-election.
Right. And the real question is the impeachment bill obviously has to originate in the House and requires, 2/3 for that? Or is that just a simple majority?
I think
it's a simple majority. Right?
Yeah. You need 2/3 in the Senate.
I mean, in what universe does, if Paul Ryan is the Speaker of the House, does he allow that to happen? And in what universe do enough Republicans allow a discharge motion?
I mean, and if this happened before...
Well, actually, if impeachment motion, I think, is a privilege motion. So I think the Democrats could just, submit their own impeachment bill, which they did earlier this year, and they got like 80 Democratic votes on that, something like that. Yeah. So you would need the entire Democratic caucus plus, 40 Republicans? Yeah. I don't see that adding up.
Not happening.
It's possible, but I don't see that happening. That would one thing has. Well, I think one of two things happens. One is they actually do go through impeachment, and they join the "Have you no shame at long last, sir" crowd, or we get the final break of between Republicans and the DC consensus Beltway reality op-ed page bullshit that never actually fucking matters. That has absolutely no impact on people's lives and no reflection of what the majority of people in this country think.
Yeah.
And if that break happens and Republicans are like, wait, we don't need you. You've always hated us. Fuck you. Fuck everyone who believes we have principles. It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. We have a massive base of winking swine who will always vote for us no matter what. Yep. We are doing the bidding of the ruling class way better than the Democrats will. Way bigger bang for your buck. Yes. We're always going to have so much money to run elections. So we don't give a shit.
Yep. Absolutely.
I forgot. I just go slightly back when I was talking about Dersh. I forgot the other edition. He brought in TV Fox News lawyer guy Joseph DeGenoa, who's another Bo Dietl figure from
another ham-faced Nazi.
Now, Mr. President, when you got that pink deal, that's the fresh shit. But the other shit, you can pound that shit all day.
So he's surrounding himself with the best talent.
Oh yeah,
but.
But the other thing is, if he fires Mueller, I think it would actually move the numbers a little bit in the next election.
I don't think it'd be critical. I don't think they could do it.
I don't think it would be decisive because I think it's already been decided, but I think it would be...
I think they recognize that their voters are now psychically connected to Trump more than the Republican Party.
Yeah, but that's only like 34% of the country.
That's the people who elect people. That's the people who win primaries, period.
For Republicans. Yeah, I'm talking about the general election.
But I'm saying that what's going to discipline them is the knowledge that they have to get nominated first before they can get reelected.
Oh, sure, right. I'm saying
they're going to kowtow to that feeling always.
I'm saying if there's any practical consequence, it's not impeachment. It's the Democrats winning an even larger majority in this election.
It's true. Although honestly, how many people really are going to change their vote based on a Mueller firing?
Don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say.
It could be just an energy factor. Like it'll just contribute to how
intensity,
the intensity of we have to save the republic.
I mean, already something on the level of 10% or so of Trump voters are moving over to the Democratic column.
But I don't think it's because of Mueller shit. It's because of his failure
because of Mueller shit.
To follow through on his promises to them.
I'm saying that's already happened, and that. And I'm saying these aren't the opes who will just take whatever. These are the more suburban, the tax abortion type people who just had a revulsion to Hillary Clinton and did not particularly like Trump or fall for all the nonsense. I'm wondering if that number becomes 20% if Mueller is impeached or Mueller's removed.
Well, I think we're going to find out either way, honestly, because he's going to have his horseradish stirred up by these fucking guys in his ear. Fucking Kudlow all snorted, fucking gacked to the brains, and fucking Bolton he just got white chalk handprints all over his face. He's speaking in a dead language. I mean, how is that not going to drive him over the edge?
Next week, I've done a lot of growing in this administration, and I've made up with the Noid. The Noid is the new HUD secretary. I've been given a list of names from the Dan Quinn universe, and I'm hiring all of them. Chet Zawalik.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
When we realized Bolton was coming in today, we just started reading this defunct Twitter account. I think because they ran out of names, it's all the names in the Dan Quinn universe. Dan Quinn, all these are real people, by the way.
We haven't talked about Dan Quinn in a while, so could you just give a brief reminder for maybe people who
very simple. Dan Quinn is a mid-40s former Notre Dame college football player who says he was set up and expelled because he made the play, the most legendary play in college football history, by Lou Holtz, who he calls Lucifer Lou Holtz, and says looks like Hitler and conspired to ruin his life. And then after years of doing meth and fighting amateur boxing matches, he discovered that when you take the natural sugar replacement stevia and blend it in water, it removes the toxic floating soap that gives people cancer. It can also be used as a cocaine substitute. Furthermore, that if he smokes blunts dusted with stevia, he is both impossible to knock out and has blazing fast hand speed. Dan Quinn asserts that he is a black boy trapped in white skin, in his words. He has intoned to Lucifer Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz, have you ever seen a white boy dance like this? He claims that one time he was just running around a track at a high school, and several school children cheered him on, and an old man in a truck said he was the fastest thing he had ever seen. He also claims to have invented a pussy-eating technique called the violin, where he can give women triple-digit orgasms. Sometimes it causes people to be hospitalized. He doesn't know why. Furthermore, he has, in tears, said that he would like to be reincarnated as Muhammad Ali as an honor to Ali.
Muhammad Ali's already dead.
Well, this is when he was alive.
Oh, okay.
The thing about Dan Quinn is he makes his videos towards a lot of people. He makes them towards like Joe Rogan or Dana White. But the supporting characters in the Dan Quinn universe, they have very strange names and lives. And you think it's just this guy being nuts. It's like no one could be named that. But you look it up, they're real guys. It just, he bends reality to create a world of stupid names that surround him.
So I wonder why we're so obsessed with this guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are
he
all
has the same power that we have.
These are all the supporting characters from the Quinnverse.
This is from
the Dan
@Quinniverse on Twitter, which hasn't tweeted since 2015. I think that you just go mad studying these ancient scrolls. But Rick Cheek, Dr. Craig Tusher, Chet Billy, Chet Zawalik,
Cool.
Cal Worsham, Scott Tuggle,
No, get the fuck out of here.
Grumpy of the Northern Norteños.
Now, keep in mind that, like as Felix said, these videos are often addressed to these people who have all invariably betrayed him in some way.
Yeah. He made it. There was a biker that he was taken in by after he was kicked out of his house called Crazy Joe, but then they obviously had a falling out, and Dan made a video called Crazy Joe's Folly, which is just, it shows that he's kind of an artist, right? Like, that's kind of art.
Dude, if I wrote a novel, that would be the title.
Our friend CJ said today, if Donald Trump's reaction to Joe Biden saying he beat him up is to say Crazy Joe's Folly. We'll have to look for him. But, okay, continuing. Jimmer Kranz. Matt Josh. Christian Printup.
Printup.
Mike Karts and his brother Keith. Dave Aroni. Tara Chow, which is actually not a real person. That was someone catfishing Dan. Jimbo Galloway. Rick Vardell, not a great one. Ronnie Lott and Mike Stonebreaker. Foge Fazio.
That's a real guy.
Yeah.
He was the defensive coordinator for the Vikings in the 90s.
Ross the Grizz Clifton. Kalani, the most beautiful fucking dog in the world. Don Bunch. Dave Huckabee. Pete Roomba. Mitch Maryland, Dr. Herb Akers, Mark Brannon from Tequila Sunrise, Treba Sample, Crazy Joe, Shatterack, Sexy Hot 369, Dada 5000, Nancy Steakums, Bond Lapua, Mike Tubes, Vaughn Bean, Michael Zambano, Russ Purnell, Marty the Lip Lippincott, Lou Holtz, Fred Riva, Tim Bybee, Diego Sanchez, Paul, Harry, Go Paul, Rick Cheek.
Wow. For any of you still listening,
Sorry, guys.
that was the full Dan Quinn universe.
There are more, though.
Yeah, you mentioned in the middle of there, though, the joke about CJ's joke about Crazy Joe's Folly. That is a funny thing today, where Joe Biden said that if he had been in a locker room as a young man and heard another young man in the locker room talking about women the way Donald Trump does, he would have had some problems. He would have checked him physically.
He would have caught those hands.
If Joe Biden said, if Donald Trump, if he went to LA without doing a check-in with me, he would have to move very carefully indeed. But and then Trump did the epic clapback where he literally said, if Joe Biden fought me now, I would lay his ass out. It would be like you'd be in a nightmare.
Oh my God.
World of hurt. It would just get worse and worse for you. Oh my God!
This is a fucking message board fight.
Look,
They're like 100 years old.
You know,
it would be the most pathetic thing in the world.
people have said to me, Donald, you have basically black hands, dude, okay? I've always said I'm a black boy trapped in white skin, okay? If I could smoke my blunts that are laced with stevia, I would perform a legal kill on Indian soil. I do like that they're just...
Would perform a legal kill on Indian
That's
soil?
another... Dan Quinn is obsessed with the concept of a legal kill in a cage. Like, if you kill somebody in a fight, it's legal, and if it's on Indian soil. And he came up with this idea. He was like, I got an idea for Diego Sanchez and Bad Boy, which is an MMA apparel company, to make a lot of money. How about a cool jacket that only fighters can wear? Well, nothing too expensive, about $100. And if you square up, it makes the shape of the Bad Boy logo. So people know that if you're wearing it, they're squaring off the fighter. So if a judge sees that and you kill the guy, he's like, oh, you were wearing the jacket. It's okay.
Done. I love
That
it.
is like a Trump idea.
Yeah.
That is a Trump idea. Like, there would be like a special murder jacket. But no, these are both ancient men. Donald Trump has probably never even like shoved
Oh my
anyone.
God! It would be like a rake falling onto a bag of leaves. I mean, it's just like they have no. They're just one of them is a bony old bag, and the other one is just this suet sack.
Yeah, he's like Joe Biden. He's like, yeah, I was an athlete. I was a star. Division III baseball player back before they didn't let like anyone but sort of scrawny Irish guys play baseball. I could knock you out.
Yeah,
Joe Biden
doing the equivalent of doing steroids was eating anything other than potatoes.
That's not true. Joe Biden, he went 12 rounds against the Notre Dame logo.
Against Dan Quinn. He's the guy that Dan Quinn beat in the Bengal bouts.
The other really funny thing about the Joe Biden calling out Trump for his toxic masculinity is like he did it right after he gave a woman a massage unbidden.
Yeah.
Because like Joe Biden
Loves
is a
that.
handsy
He is a
motherfucker.
Joe Biden went into
He-
that press conference and
He's like, if you're gonna touch a woman, let's keep it above the belt. All right.
Joe Biden went into that press conference, looked at every woman reporter and was like, where's my hug at? Anyway, Donald Trump, I would fucking knock you out, dude.
Well, the thing
He
is,
went in and said, "Where's Mike Huckabug at?"
he has to do that. He has to do that because he has decided he's running.
Yeah.
And he's decided that his tack is going to be he's going to be the sensible centrist alternative to this crazy Sanders-esque leftism. He's going to be the one who doesn't blame the rich and is good to the middle class because he thinks that
My day, people were grateful.
I
to
think
have
it's
a job.
because he doesn't think he's credible on the left, which he isn't, and I guess he recognizes that. But so since he can't offer any robust criticism of the status quo that could excite voters, he has to get people who hate Trump riled some other way. And all that's left is empty bluster and threats of violence just to look like you really hate him, even though you don't really have an agenda.
Virgil, what was the tweet you found from the one guy?
Oh my God. Okay.
It's really funny.
This is Dr. Eugene Gu, MD. Joe Biden saying he would take Trump behind the gym and beat the hell out of him is completely inappropriate and encourages violence among males.
I just love the idea of some kids in a play yard just choking each other out because they got riled by these grandpas.
Yeah, Joe Biden's so fucking cool. I want to be like him.
I think that Dr. Goo, a surgeon scientist hoping to cure heart and kidney diseases in babies, would know a thing or two about masculine aggression.
What was the joke you had, Virgil, where it's like, who can forget the uptick in violence after Grumpy Old Men came out? It was really good. Oh, man, that would suck if, like, you were going in for, like, an appointment. You have a heart problem. And you're like, oh, I'm going to look up my doctor. And then you see him like what?
That's the first line is about. The second line is blocked by real Donald Trump, which is it's an indication of how the internet poisons your brain. It's a self-inflicted mental illness.
Yeah, don't be like this guy. Be like us.
This guy could have cured heart and kidney diseases in babies by now. Instead, he just posts crap like that all day.
Yeah, be like us. Don't even attempt to cure childhood cancer or heart disease.
No, I could if I wanted to. I'm not going to.
What do you think? Yeah, what do you think we'd be doing if we didn't have online brain poisoning?
Yeah,
fuck if I know. So that
I would have come up with a cool jacket idea.
So we've.
Oh, now I'm curious about this. I like to think I would be an archivist.
Oh, you'd work at the Internet Wayback Machine?
No, there wouldn't be an internet Wayback Machine.
Oh, okay. There's no internet.
It would be the book Wayback Machine.
I think I would have been like a special type of Green Beret who's allowed to leave on the weekends to star in pornographic movies with Lisa Ann.
What about you, Matt?
Me what?
If you didn't have internet brain poisoning,
Oh, God.
what would your life be?
I would honestly be Ignatius J. Riley.
Yeah, you would be.
Buried in tomes and trying to write my own grand thesis in a basement somewhere.
See, that's the thing.
Reeking of hot dog water.
That book is so dated because that guy today would have a $10,000 a month Patreon and a YouTube channel where he blogs wearing a clown mask.
Well, that's
or
the
something,
thing is that
and he'd
the
be like
modern
called
era-
Dr. Psycho.
I mean, that's what I'm saying is it's just I would have the same compulsions, but I would have a more kind of stuffy and awkward way to express them through books rather than just being able to dump my brain onto the internet.
Oh, I'd also be really into miniatures.
You'd be like
Those
that
are cool.
Marwin Saul guy.
Who?
Marwin Call.
Marwin Saul.
It's a good movie.
I think I would have probably been like a lawyer in finance. Not because
Sorry, I'm late, Your Honor. I want to fucking kill myself.
No. I respond to minor inconveniences that way because of the internet. I think I was a pretty like level-headed, nice child before the internet. My mom cannot call into the show and say anything.
I gotta say, if we hadn't had the internet, I definitely would have read more than 5 books in the last 2 years. That's for sure.
Oh, and
Jesus Christ.
but you know, Who Moved My Cheese and 12 Rules for Solving the Chaos. Those are 2 important books.
Oh, I also would have invented the board game Ticket to Ride.
Oh, is that?
It's a train sim?
It's not a sim.
It's a turn-based train sim.
Is it a board game?
It's board. It's one of those German board games.
Those are really complicated.
Oh, man, you already have something as exciting as board games, but it's made by Germans, too?
Those guys know how to party.
Well, Will, what about you?
This is called real actuary combat.
It's funny because they are like that.
I mean, I would have been a successful book editor. So that's a vision of things that could have been. And up until now, we've been discussing a rather dark vision of politics in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, we're keeping it real with you folks. We're not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
We're keeping it 1600 like always.
However, I do want to talk about a different vision of politics that if only we could allow our hearts to dream of, perhaps these problems, wouldn't seem so bad. Perhaps we could roll our sleeves up and fix the problems, be problem solvers in this country.
Problem Solvers Caucus. Activate.
I'm talking, of course, about, the East Coast was swamped with a snowstorm, and today, when you know it, Republican Jeff Fuck and Democrat Cory Booker spent the afternoon snowballing each other. and I don't mean they were spitting cum into each other's mouths.
Well, they were figuratively.
Yeah.
I have to go now.
My planet needs me.
This started way later than we planned on.
Are you being
going?
serious?
I have to have dinner with Patrick Wyman. I didn't think it would run this long.
Okay.
Chris, leave this in. I want the audience to know he's making deals.
I'm not making a deal. I'm just having dinner with my buddy from MMA journalism.
Are you doing Go Off Kings later?
Yeah, I am.
Cool.
But I want to say thank you to Jack Wagner and Brandon Wardell for letting us use your equipment. And we recorded 2 great episodes of Yeah, But Still, which you can check out on iTunes and SoundCloud. Thank you so much, Jack and Brandon.
Yeah, thank you for hosting us.
Thank you.
Actually, now I'd like to use this opportunity to no platform Brendan Wardell. I'll get the DSA leadership needs to stop palling around with this character. His views on everything are wrong and odious, and we would never have him on the show.
There's no room on the left for a Brandon Wardell.
Yeah,
or
stop
any of his
palling around.
acolytes.
Stop palling around with Wardell.
Yep.
Bye, Felix.
My car will be here in 5 minutes. I'll hang out.
Okay. So the
This is a
snowball
smooth
fight.
exit. Yeah, the
Back to
snowball
the
fight.
snowball fight.
The
By the way,
snowball
really
fight.
Whatever.
quick,
I
why-
got my joke in there about them spitting cum at each other.
Really
There's
quick.
nothing really
Why
more
is
to
this
say.
called Monster Rehab? Is it 4 guys in rehab?
I think so.
Monster Rehab is called Monster Rehab because of a special mix of hydration and a low glycemic index. See, Monster Rehab only has 10 calories per can. That means that it has less sugar than a regular Monster, which can have up to 54 grams.
There's like 500 chemicals in this.
Yeah, you know what also has chemicals? The air you breathe.
That's
You wanna
true.
Stop doing that.
That's true.
Monster Rehab is called that because it energizes and hydrates you at the same time. It rehabilitates you.
Hundreds of people are going to get annoyed. Like they're like, yo, they're shilling for Monster Energy drink. What the fuck, man?
No, I'm actually doing the most moral thing you can do. I'm raising awareness of Monster for free. Just an up and coming company that I believe in.
Rehab the beast.
Yeah, you know when your beast gets 3 DUIs and Sam Stein is like, guys, can we not laugh at the beast for getting DUIs? He's trying to get his life on track, and the beast is like, thank you, Sam Stein. If only I had a low-calorie but high-in-taste energy beverage, an energy tea from Monster Energy for beasts like me. I'm about to go beast mode in this rehab and save my own life. And Chris Hayes is like, I agree. This Twitter needs more of this. That's what the beast sounds like. He sounds like my other impressions.
Anyway, smooth exit there by the beater man. Okay.
Okay, all right. Well, I
It's
feel like
professional
I feel like this is
broadcasting.
a decent time to kind of wrap things
Yeah, I
up
think
for the show.
we've been going long enough.
But we
haven't
do need to finish our dispensary anecdote.
Oh my God! Wow, this is like Ulysses.
Call
Yeah.
back.
Coming back
No,
to the
Finnegan's Wake, you
beginning.
mean?
Jesus, what?
Finnegan's
Yeah,
Wake. That's
whatever.
the one that goes in a circle.
Oh, okay.
Whichever.
So after we left the dispensary, we got an assortment of treats, and we just opened it up right there on the street in broad daylight, and we just started eating them.
Yeah.
I had a Sour Patch Kid, but it was like weed.
It just felt so civilized to just walk
Civilized
in.
is a good
do
word
something.
for it.
And
Just buy some drugs.
and then you, me, Matt, me, myself, Matt, Virgil, and Amber walking around L.A. We took a trip to the La Brea Tar
The La
Pits.
Brea Tar Pits.
Something I've always wanted to check out.
Yes, seen one of the finest films of the last 20 or 30 years, Volcano.
That was where the volcano happens.
It
was in
was,
those La
yes.
Brea Tar Pits.
Those are the scenes where the first sparks of sexual tension between Tommy Lee Jones and Anne Heche start heating up.
It was
beast. I got caught in the tar pit. I drove into the tar pit. All right, bye for real.
Ooh, this is going to be a divisive ep, I think.
I think it's good.
I've had fun.
I've had fun. I just think it's going to be a mixed reception.
Okay, well, we liked the tar pits. That was the story. We were high, so of course we liked it. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's all the little bubbles and gases and stuff.
You guys want to close on a couple promos?
Promos.
All right. We're doing a show Sunday in San Francisco in the afternoon. And if that is the future for you, tickets are still available. And if it's the past for you,
I hope you
they're-
had fun.
I hope you had fun. Good way of putting it. Buy the book.
Yes.
Subscribe to the newsletter. And add, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you are already subscribed to it. It's mandatory that you read it. Add newsletter at chapotraphouse.com to your address book so you get it. Now, just because you've added newsletter at chapotraphouse.com to your address book doesn't mean that's one of your contacts, doesn't mean that's your buddy. So don't, just pop on a bunch of emails there. Whatever you do, please. Please don't do that. Don't import it automatically when you make a LinkedIn account or whatever. It's just pro forma, totally.
Another
Another
gem.
triumph. Another triumph.
tucked away in our,
Oh, boy.
in our pod safe.
Oh boy.
All right, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.